Finally, after 2 failed attempts, Jimmie Johnson will be able to take the opportunity to test an Indycar at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, a new update to the SRX racing experience that will take place in 2021, and Larson has stated that he's interested in a NASCAR comeback. Yo, what is up everyone, my name is Jack Cross and welcome back to the episode of Inside the Lines. Got a couple good stories to talk about here today, one coming from IndyCar, one from Dirt/NASCAR, one regarding the Xfinity series. Let's first start off in the world of IndyCar. 7-time Cup Series champion Jimmie Johnson finally got the opportunity to test an IndyCar at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course for Chip Ganassi Racing. Now, as many of you know, he had this opportunity twice, but they were both failed due to COVID-19. At first, it was supposed to be at Barber Motorsports Park with Arrow McLaren. Then the next one was with Chip Ganassi Racing, but then he was tested positive for COVID-19. But looking back, it was probably just a false positive. So finally now, he's able to test an IndyCar. Now, Jimmie Johnson did have some help with him on his side. He had 5-time IndyCar Series champion and a former Indy 500 champion in Scott Dixon as is sort of helping him to give him some tips, give him some ideas. Johnson did say that when he enters into IndyCar, he wants to enter in being competitive. So, for example, if he's like 4 seconds off the pace, he's not going to go into it. He wants to be and have a legitimate, maybe not a legitimate shot, but at least be competitive towards the front. Now, originally, when Johnson said he wanted to try IndyCar, originally, Indy 500 was off the table due to being an oval and how it was extremely dangerous and how it was uncomfortable for him and his family. Well, with IndyCar's new safety enhancements, Johnson is open to an Indy 500 seat next season. He said this in a statement with AutoWeek.com. He said, quote, "Their safety on ovals has dramatically increased this year with the windscreen they have. So I'll keep a close eye on things there and see how the safety level looks. I've always wanted to race at Indianapolis 500. I had to do a lot of selling to my wife to get that pass to do it. But my true desire right now is to just run the road courses. There are 12 on the schedule right now, and I would be open to run all 12 if the right opportunity came. But I'm open to all. When you think of COTA, when you think of Road America, there are just so many ones to think about. Indy, obviously, I'm going to have a chance to test there. I'd be highly interested in every road course that they have on the schedule right now." Now, this was before he took the test at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's why he said, "I'm going to have a chance to test there," because this was taking place prior to the test. But overall, I think this would be a huge deal for both IndyCar and NASCAR. I mean, in terms of the pop culture world, Johnson is not as big of a name in terms of maybe you look at Jeff Gordon or Earnhardt in the 90s, how big they were in pop culture. Johnson is still a massive deal in the motorsport community. And there are a lot of NASCAR fans that I know who probably would not even watch an IndyCar race, would take an opportunity if Jimmie Johnson were to participate in a race. And if he were to do 12 road courses in the schedule, all 12 road courses in the schedule, that'd be really good for IndyCar and for NASCAR to allow some fans to maybe cross over, take a look at IndyCar for the first time and see if they like it or not. But yeah, me being a Jimmie Johnson fan, obviously it's disappointing seeing him retire full-time from NASCAR, but him going to IndyCar, it's a brand new challenge for him. It would be very interesting to see how he does, but I'm quite surprised that he suggested the Indy 500. I thought, all right, he's not going to run Indy 500. I thought, all right, Indy road courses, that's it. Not even an oval, but now he's open to that with the recent safety enhancements, like with the windscreen and the side pods, the new side pods that IndyCar introduced for this year. Who knows? Who knows? We could see Jimmie Johnson in the Indy 500 as soon as next season. This would be huge because, like I said, Johnson is a household name in the motorsports community. It would definitely help IndyCar's ratings go up tremendously, even if it's just a normal road course at Road America, COTA, or Long Beach. If Johnson's in that race, it's going to raise up the IndyCar attendance and ratings dramatically if we do have fans next year, depending on how long this pandemic goes. It'll be also very cool to see one of the greatest NASCAR drivers of all time go to IndyCar and see how it would even do against drivers like Scott Dixon, Alexander Rossi, even the rookies, Felix Rosenqvist, Oliver Askew, all those drivers like that, see how they stack up with one another. And could this maybe create sort of a new thing of maybe retired NASCAR drivers jumping ship to maybe test out IndyCar? I mean, if Jimmie Johnson goes to IndyCar and starts to, it doesn't have to win races, just start running well, that could maybe start a trend into seeing maybe drivers from NASCAR that retire go to IndyCar, or the complete opposite of maybe IndyCar drivers retire, maybe try some NASCAR races. Tony Kanaan just recently retired. Who knows what he's going to do? He's going to be doing the SRX racing series, which we're going to talk about in a bit, but I think this could maybe start a trend Because if Jimmie goes to IndyCar, does well, he could potentially bring along some of his NASCAR camaraderies along for the ride. And now on to the Rapid Fire. This is a segment of the show where I give you just little snippets of news and information that I feel like you might need to know. So let's start off in the Xfinity series. Noah Gragson will carry a trio of familiar partners on board Junior Motorsports number 9 Chevrolet as the NASCAR Xfinity series enters the last half of the 2020 season. JRM announced today that Bass Pro Shops True Timber Camo and Black Rifle Coffee Company will stay on as co-primary partners with Gragson for an additional 16 races in the season. Gragson, now in his second year driving for Junior Motorsports, followed up his breakthrough win at Daytona with another at the Bristol Motor Speedway in June. The 22-year-old sits third in the Xfinity Series championship standings with 2 wins, 8 top 5s, and 11 top 10s this season. Dover International Speedway has announced that the August 21st to 23rd NASCAR weekend at the Dover International Speedway will take place without fans due to concerns surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. While the 6 races at the Monster Mile will move forward, state officials did not approve the track's request to host a limited number of fans in the interest of public safety and health concerns. McLaren and Gulf Oil International have announced today that they have reached a multi-year strategic partnership which will see Gulf, one of the most iconic brands in the world, partner with world-famous race team McLaren Racing and luxury supercar company McLaren Automotive. Gulf's link with McLaren started back in 1968 and continued to the end of the 1973 season, with Gulf and McLaren enjoying success in both Formula One and the Can-Am Series, in which the partnership won over 40 races. The partnership was then renewed at the Le Mans 24 Hours in the 1990s, with the famous McLaren F1 GTR running in Gulf colors throughout the decade. To launch the partnership, the Gulf brand will be integrated into the McLaren Formula One team for the British Grand Prix on Friday, July 31st to the 2nd of August this year. The logo will be represented by McLaren F1 personnel throughout the 2020 F1 season, including via race drivers Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz in the McLaren pit crew. Gulf branding will also appear on the engine covers and wing mirrors of the McLaren MCL35 race cars. An update on the Superstar Racing Experience that will premiere next summer on CBS. They already announced a few weeks ago that Tony Kanaan will join the series, as well as a Canadian driver. However, people have now speculated what that driver might be, although some are saying it could be James Hinchcliffe. But they also released earlier today a portion of what the car might look like, which includes 2 forms of grills with one having an X on it. There's also a splitter which doesn't automatically scream bad news. Remember, Ray Evernham talked about mechanical grip and how he wants the cars to race like, which is agreeing with a lot of us and how we feel about how the race cars should drive like on short tracks. So just because there's a splitter doesn't automatically mean bad news. But I will say, have you noticed that there was a Goodyear logo on the tires? I find this kind of funny because, did any of you remember Tony Stewart talk about his displeasure with Goodyear? Does Atlanta 2008 ring any bells?
They exited out of Formula One, they exited out of the IRL, they exited out of CART, they exited out of World Outlaws, and there's a reason for that because Goodyear can't build a tire that's worth a crap.
Yeah, overall, I really like how the car looks so far. It reminds me of those late model cars. I think it was the 5-star bodies that they introduced a few years ago. That's what it reminds me of, and I really like the 2 different variations. I really like the X on the grille. I think it adds a bit of specialty, adds a bit of uniqueness to the car. But hey, so far, looks good. And finally, NBC Sports announced today that Brad Daugherty will join the pre-race and post-race crew alongside Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty, but will also be in it for selective Xfinity broadcasts. He is scheduled to make his debut with NBC Sports during the Michigan doubleheader of August 8th and 9th. Now, for those who don't know, Brad Daugherty was part of the NASCAR on ESPN crew from 2007 and 2014. Just want to let everyone know, is anyone getting any NASCAR on ESPN vibes from this with Dale Jarrett and Brad Daugherty coming back, joining the crew? Now, I personally enjoy Brad Daugherty. I loved him on the ESPN broadcast. I think he adds flair, adds a bit of excitement to it, and adds a different perspective to the broadcast. I think he'll be a good fit over at NBC. Our next story is a little quick story, revolves around the future of the Xfinity Series 2020 schedule. Now, they still have to reschedule 2 events that were canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and sources are saying, this is a rumor, that it could be a Richmond doubleheader as well as an additional race at Talladega in October. Now, this was speculated due to Bob Parker's holding an interview with Chase Briscoe that talked about Talladega going in the fall. Now, remember, Talladega only is reserved for the Xfinity Series during the spring race. The October race, which is scheduled for Cup and Trucks at Talladega, the Xfinity gets an off weekend, but depending on how everything is going on with the pandemic, more than likely they're going to have to add another race to the schedule at Talladega and as well add a Richmond doubleheader. I personally love it. I love the Xfinity Series regardless. It's the best series in NASCAR to date. NASCAR on the short tracks, the Xfinity Series provides some great racing, as well as what we saw at Talladega. The Xfinity race there was really, really good. And add on top of that, it's in the playoffs, so you know it's going to add a bit of drama to the mix. Hopefully, this is not only just rumor, but it's confirmed fact. And I really like the Xfinity is going to be adding those races, potentially, specifically that Talladega race. And finally, our last story revolves around Kyle Larson. Now, Kyle Larson did an interview with Wing Nation on MRN, I think either today or the day before, where he was asked a question on the possibility of what his future might look like in NASCAR. Take a listen.
Yeah, definitely. If the opportunity was there, I would love to give it a shot, to get back and prove to the NASCAR world that I am a great race car driver, and I know if I got the right opportunity, I could win a lot of races like I am right now. So but I understand kind of how the world is right now, and with the mistake I made, that it's going to be really tough to get another opportunity. But even if that opportunity comes, it's more than just about racing at this point. So we'll see, but I would definitely love the opportunity.
Now, all of you know the issue as to why Kyle Larson's even in this position. Back in April, he was caught on an iRacing stream saying the N-word, hard R, and was fired the day after because of that. One thing I want to talk about is there's a picture floating around that Kyle Larson's wife posted. I think it's on Instagram. I'll show it to you right now. It's a picture of him and everyone else wearing red hats that say, I think, make 29 great again. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but a lot of people are starting to make the connection. Oh my God, he's a Trump supporter. He doesn't deserve to be in NASCAR. Which, if that's your explanation, that's the dumbest explanation I think I've heard. Just because you're a Trump supporter, that doesn't make you racist, all right? I know people that are Trump supporters. I know one from my former high school that's a Trump supporter. He ain't racist, or at least from what I know. But my point is that there are Trump supporters that are not racist. Just because you're a Trump supporter, that doesn't make you racist. That's just a stereotype. And even if Larson, it doesn't really exactly say that they support Trump, because they were probably just making a mockery of it, which, all right, fine, do your thing. I don't really care. But even if he supports Trump, that shouldn't be a reason as to not allow Larson back to have a second chance in NASCAR because he supports Trump. It's like, okay, and yeah, Matt Benedetto, he supports Trump. Does that mean we should banish him? No. Support whoever you want to support. I don't care. All I care about is if A, you can drive a race car, and B, you don't say the wrong thing, all right? You just stay in your lane, you do what you need to do, and you don't do or say anything that pisses people off. One thing I like that he mentioned on how if he gets an opportunity back in NASCAR, it's more than just being a race car driver. Because when you come back, Larson, if he gets the opportunity to come back into NASCAR, he can't just come back and be like, oh, hey, everybody, what's up, and go back in the race car. If he returns to NASCAR, it's going to be a completely different scenario, completely different atmosphere for him, because now he's gonna have to do that and more. He's gonna have to actually show people how, hey, he has changed. And he has shown examples, because after he deleted his Twitter, which a lot of people thought was a way to get away from the backlash, a lot of people don't know this, was the fact that he has attended African-American volunteer work. He has done that. He has attended George Floyd's funeral. He has done things like that. Which, great start, and the fact that he didn't tell anyone, again, it's really good. I like that. I do feel like he can do more to still show that, hey, what I did was wrong. And I think when he comes back to NASCAR, which I do believe he will, all right, now it's not my choice to say whether he should or not, but I do believe just the way how everything is, the circumstances are, he's going to get a second chance and he's going to return. Now, what he does with that chance is all up to him. If he comes back to NASCAR, he has to, like he said, prove that it's more about being a race car driver at this point. It's being more of an ambassador. Because you coming back to NASCAR, after all the changes that NASCAR did, you coming back, Larson's going to have to do that and more in order to show to everyone, to the new fans of African-American fans that are now watching NASCAR, hey, I have changed. I do apologize. There you go. That's all I'm saying that Larson has to do. He has to come back doing a lot more than what even the average person in NASCAR is doing for diversity, because of what he did back in April. Do I think he's going to do that? I don't know. Again, he's shown signs that what he's doing is good. He's shown signs of that, but I don't know. There's still part of me in the back of my head is like, I'm still iffy about this. I still think he's gonna come back to NASCAR in terms of just logical reasoning, but in terms of my feeling, I don't know. I'm still a bit iffy if I think he's actually learned about it and will become a better person about it, but at this point in time, we're just gonna have to wait. But yes, that's gonna conclude this episode of Inside the Lines, guys. Tell me in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts on any of the stories I talked about here today? What are your thoughts on Jimmie going to IndyCar? How good do you think he might do well over there? What are your thoughts on Larson? If he does get an opportunity to come back in NASCAR, will you accept that opportunity, or will you still be like, banish him, or you still would not care about him? Leave all your comments down below. But until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys next time.